Happy Saturday, everyone! This is Ellie, registered physiotherapist from C.E.S Physiotherapy and Rehabilitation here in Richmond Hill, Ontario in Canada. So, how's everybody doing today? I'm pretty good, and today I want to show you guys all a very special gadget. Let me show you guys what it is. Ta-da! So, yes, this is the foam roller. And I'm going to show you guys how to use this magical device to help release tensions in our hip flexors muscles. But before we start, let's talk about popping or clicking hip. Yeah, right? Probably many of you are thinking, I have a clicking hip too. So why is that? Now I'm going to tell you why. A clicking or popping hip is possibly because you have what is called the snapping hip syndrome. The medical term is known as coxa-Seltons. So there are three major types of snapping hip. While often harmless, these conditions can sometimes lead to joint damage and pain if left untreated. So in the next few episodes, I'll be going through the different types of snapping hip syndrome, but today I'm going to focus on the very first one. And let's get into it and understand why we have a clicking, popping hip. So I'm gonna cover the first type of snapping hip syndrome today, and that is the internal snapping hip at the front of the hip. And this type of snapping occurs when tendons, especially in this case, the hip flexors. So this includes our iliopsoas muscle, which comes from our lower back spine and attaches to our hip bone, and the rectus femoris. So you guys know what rectus femoris is, right? It's one of the muscles of our quadriceps muscle. And these tendons, so the iliopsoas and the rectus femoris tendons together, they have a possibility of sliding over bony prominences at the front of our hip joint, creating tension and then releasing a snap or a pop. And hence we have this snapping hip syndrome, and it's the internal snapping hip syndrome that's in the front of our hip. Okay, so this is the cause of the first type of snapping hip syndrome. So people with internal snapping hip syndrome may experience hip popping when running, or when the hip extended from a flexed position. For example, when they go sit down and then try to get up, they hear a click, or when they try to bend their hip and then extend the hip, they hear a click or a pop. And hip popping may associate with pain, but pain symptoms might be of gradual onset, then all of a sudden become sharp and sudden at the front of the hip, deep within our groin, as repeated irritation causes tendons to become inflamed. Okay, so this is the first type of snapping hip syndrome, which means in order for us to prevent ourselves from having this internal snapping hip syndrome, we need to find ways to help maintain our hip flexors in an optimal state, or the optimal length. So I'm going to show you guys 3 ways to do that. Shall we get started? So first of all, we're going to make use of this magical gadget, the foam roller. So the one I have here actually has many spikes and bumps, so it's actually a very heavy duty one. So the spikes and the bumps can really dig into your really tensed area. So let me demonstrate how you can use this super foam roller to get the tensions out of your hip flexors. So to begin, we're going to place this foam roller flat on the mat, okay? And then I'm going to demonstrate rolling onto my left side of the hip flexors first. So really have to try to place myself onto this foam roller so then I can get into this hip flexors. It's like right here, this area, to try to get the tension out of this area. Okay, so I am going to put myself onto the foam roller there, and then you can see how my hip flexors, it's already on the foam roller. So I'm gonna go on a slight angle so everybody can see that my hip flexors it's actually on this foam roller area right now. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to roll back and forth, up and down to try to get the tension, roll out the tension in my hip flexors area. And when you feel that there is one particular area that's really tight or like it hurts the most or it hurts more than other areas, you can try to stop in that one area and just, you know, do a little bit of oscillatory movement. Just, you know, oscillate back and forth to try to get that tension out. Okay, so like this is the spot that really bothers me right now, so I'm just staying over in this one spot here and just oscillate back and forth, back and forth, back and forth and try to get that area released. Okay, and then you can also, because remember this is just where the tendons has the most tension. It's right around where our hip bend. But remember the rectus femoris, which is one of our like our quads, can also get tight. So what you can do is you can also roll down to get into our quads as well. Okay, so this will help roll out any tension in our quadriceps muscle also. So if you can go roll all the way down into the quads to get any tensions that's in there, you may also do that. Okay, so that's foam rolling, and it's great. This is a great exercise or a great way to get tension out of our hip flexors or quads area. Okay, and next we're gonna make use of this foam roller again to do a stretch. So we are going to stretch out our hip flexors by using this magical gadget here. So place it on the mat again, flat, and then we're gonna try to lie onto this foam roller. So you see what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to put this foam roller right where my tailbone, like my sacrum is, and then I will then, for example, I want to stretch out the left hip again, then I will keep my right knee bent and then extend the right leg straight, and then immediately I feel that there is a stretch right through my hip flexor on the left side there. Okay, so this is a great stretch, making use of your foam roller. And when you're stretching, you hold in this position for 30 seconds. Okay, so you count 30, and then after 30 seconds you will release. Okay, and then try again. So place this foam roller better and just right, you know, under your sacrum area, and make sure your core is slightly engaged, because we don't want your lower back, your lumbar spine to be arched while you're stretching your hip flexors. So engage your core a little bit. Foam roller is right behind your sacrum, your tailbone, your sacral area, and then you extend the leg that you want to stretch, keeping your core engaged, keeping your lower back lumbar spine in the neutral position instead of arching, and then you maintain the stretch for about 30 seconds. Okay, once 30 seconds is up, you may try to release. Okay, and then repeat one more time on the same side. Then you can try it with the right side. So same thing, to try with the right side, you engage your core a little bit, keep your left knee bent, and extend the right, until you feel a stretch through your hip flexors area. You hold it for 30 seconds again. I can feel a stretch through here already, but the key is to remember to engage your core a little bit to protect your lumbar spine, so then your lumbar spine is not arched when you're doing the stretch, okay? So when 30 seconds is up, you may release and then repeat again. Make sure the leg is straight and back is not arched over, so engage your core a little bit, and 30 seconds again, and release. And then you can repeat 3 times on the one side and then 3 times on the other side, okay? So that is how to stretch out your hip flexors with the use of this foam roller. And then the final stretch is a regular hip flexor stretch with nothing, with no gadgets. I'm just going to show you how to stretch out your hip flexor. So I'm going to demonstrate on the right side this time so then you can see it closer to the camera there. So what you're going to do is you're going to have this leg straight and you're going to be in a kneeling position. So for anyone with a knee issue, it's a good idea to have some padding. So here I've prepared a towel. I'm going to put it underneath my knee, so then it's padding my knee. And then keep this leg straight. And then this one, you're going to put the left up like so. So when you're stretching, a lot of people have done it wrong by leaning too far forward and arching the back. Remember, the iliopsoas comes from our lower back. So if you arch your back too much, you're not going to feel any stretch. It's not going to stretch out our hip flexors. So the key is to kind of tuck your tailbone in a little bit, engage your core, keeping your spine in a neutral position when you try to stretch out the hip flexors. And then you just have to, it's a slight leaning forward with our spine in a neutral position, core engaged, tailbone kind of tucked in. And I am already feeling a stretch through my hip flexors area. This is it, okay? And you'll hold this for 30 seconds. And if you say, oh, this stretch is like kind of easy, I don't really feel a stretch through my hip flexors anymore, can we progress to a more challenging way of stretching the hip flexors area? Yes. So in order to do that, we're going to include our quads. So what you're going to do is keeping in this neutral spinal position, keeping in the same position, but this time you're going to add a pull. Okay, so you're also pulling your foot, and then you're going to feel quite a lot of stretch through the hip flexors all the way down to your quads area. And you're going to hold this for 30 seconds. Okay, so this will be the progression from this to pulling the foot up and get the entire stretch, entire length of your thigh and your hip flexors stretched out. Okay, so try these exercises out and let me know how it goes. So thanks for watching today. I hope you like my video and you like my little gadget that I showed you guys today. Please give me a like and subscribe to my channel to receive more health and wellness tips. Oh, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell. And you may also check out our website at www.cesphysiorehab.com, and I will see you guys next week.